Hey guys, today we're going to be going over some things you need to know for the coaching TrainingPeaks account. So as you log in here, you're going to log into your home screen, and you can get there by clicking the home button up at the top right there. When you're at this home area, you're going to have a list of all your athletes right here. This is a great way to look at all the workouts that I've done in the past. You see this person's done all their workouts green, green, green. They've done everything to spec. This person, couple greens, couple reds. Something might be going on there, so that's something you need to look at. Right away, something else you need to know are these colored dots right here. That means that there's an event coming up. This person has a marathon coming up. So you need to keep that in mind as well. Unfortunately, you can't see out further than a week, so that's the furthest you can see. These are the workouts that your athletes have completed over here. As you can see, these are today's workouts. If you want to filter it down by an individual athlete, just go over here and click on that person's bar. And over here, the workouts will be filtered to this person. So you can see today, this was his workout. Yesterday, these are the things that he did. Also, he left a comment on this swim right here. Okay, so that's going to become big, and we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Some other items that have popped up right here. The main race of the year that we'll talk about later, that is how many weeks until his Ironman Maryland. These blue sections right here, this is the progressed fitness. This is the fitness that is your athlete is designed to have, and the dotted line is in the future. This solid blue line over here is the fitness that this athlete has incurred over time. As you can see, it's going up and down, up and down, up, up, up. And you can see the dots end at this point right here, and that's just because that's where the planned workouts have stopped in the future. Okay, so if it was planned out a little bit further, this dotted line would be pushed out over here. These other the graphs right here, as you can see, this is the fitness ramp rate. So in the last 7 days, he's had a ramp rate of 4. In the last 28 days, he's kind of stayed even. In the last 90 days, he's gained 18 fitness points. And the last 50, or the last year, he's gained 50 fitness points. These numbers right here, this is his current fitness level. This is the fatigue rate at which he's already training right now. And this is his form, how tired he is, how much stress is getting put on his system. -12, not a bad area to be right now. So if you click his bar again, this right side is going to disappear, and it's going to just refilter to all the athletes right there. Now, if you want to go to an individual athlete's profile, you can click the calendar on their bar. Once you click their calendar, something's going to pop up here. Let's just stick with David on this one, because he's got some planned workouts. As you can see, this is yesterday, this is today. You can see that because the top bar is a different color. Today is the 25th, so it's going to have that different color up there. All of these workouts up front, they have not been completed yet, so there's no color associated with them. His swim yesterday, he has a green color associated with his, and if you click on it, we'll talk about why. So first, he has a planned distance of 3,600. He completed 3,600. His time was supposed to be in 55 minutes. He completed in 57, so that is within the 15% error rate, which is where they give you that green color right there. Below, it has some other paces and things that we'll talk about in a minute, but it also has his comments over here. And if we wanted to leave a comment, we could type something over here and great job on this one. And if you wanted to submit that, you would hit save and close. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to delete that and hit cancel and pop out over here. Now you can see that there's workouts in the future, okay, and that's going to increase or decrease his fitness depending on where you are in the season or that macro mesocycle that you are in. His fitness at the end of the week is going to be a 105. His fatigue is a 126, and his form is a -7. If we pop down to the next week, he's got a recovery week, so his fitness is actually going to drop a little bit, but his form is going to increase, and that is going to be key once we go into the later stages of the next block. You don't want to start a block too fatigued, because if you do, that's going to set you that's going to set you up for failure later on, and it's going to increase your athlete's chance of burnout and injury. Now, if we click on his dashboard, a bunch of charts are going to pop up. I recommend doing this main dashboard one right here. In it, you can filter swim, bike, run, whatever your main sport is, you can do that. You can also set custom date ranges. I've selected the first of this year to the last of this year for this athlete right here, and you can see where he is in all his training. And if you hover over any day, you can see, okay, this was his fatigue, this was his fitness, this was his form there. If you see that something has happened, like right here, if you see that something happened, you can kind of dig in a little bit, and let's see, this was a race right here. So this would explain the drop in fitness right here. That would explain the drop in fitness. The taper, and then afterwards the recovery after the race, so he can recover and then progress later on, as you see he's going to. So that is some indications. And these red dots right here, the one that I just clicked on, that is a really high TSS, a training suffer score right there. So you can go in and you can see, all right, why was this so high? And sometimes they will be really high, like this one up here. This one that is an Ironman predicted one right there, which would explain why the TSS is so high. Now, some other charts that you can or should have, I just like to use these because it gives a bigger picture. The fitness summary completed. This is the amount of running, the amount of biking, the strength, the swim, everything that he's done. And he's done a little bit. I believe that's yoga over there, the small bit. Now I've taken this chart, I've copied it and put it down here, and this one is only his swim. So if we wanted to get a better picture of his swim, we would scroll down here and we would select, okay, what's going on in the last 180 days and the next 45. And you can see it becomes a lot bigger right here. Once again, these red dots indicate TSS. They indicate how intense a training session is. These blue dots is the intensity factor associated with everything. So as you can see, the TSS slowly increases as we get further into the season, and that would account for the increased fitness as we progress. Something to talk about before we progress, you don't want this I'm going to call it yellow, this yellow dotted line to go so far in the red right here, to go so far below that 0, because if it's going below -25, -30, that's when your athlete's going to start to experience some negative things, maybe some overtraining, maybe some injury, something along those lines. As we scroll down, I have this fitness history peak pace for the swim. Once again, you'll see this again, but this is only for the swim. So over the last couple of months, you can scroll down, and in December, he started out at a 20-minute pace of, let's call it 2 minutes. Now he is projected to do a 1:26 20-minute average in June, which is a pretty big drop, some great improvement. This next graph over here is some time and zones by the week, some power numbers for you right here. And if you hover over them, you can see he's spent an hour and 25 minutes this week alone in his zone 1. He's spent 30 minutes in the zone 2. He's spent over, let's call it an hour in zone 3, and it just keeps going up there. Now, this next fitness chart is just the bike only. Again, if we scroll up, this is the swim, bike, and run. This one is just the bike right here. So you can see how his bike has improved over time. Remember, the orange dots are or the orange lines, dotted lines, are in the future, so you can see what his fatigue is going to be. So over here, he's going to have a fatigue of -25 there. But as you see, that fatigue quickly goes away, so we can recover and not get injured. You can go into these lower places, -25, -28, but if you look, it bounces back very quickly, so they get out of that zone. Sometimes you have to go there to have those fitness improvements, but you need to get out of there as well. This next graph is peak power. It's all workout types, but he only has power 4 bike, so it's not a big deal. If you wanted to change it, you would just select bike over here, right there. Make sure that it's on cycling, and then that would only be for the bike. As you can see, you can also adjust the date ranges over here by clicking that hamburger menu right there. I've selected the last 180 days so we can see his improvement. Let's dive in. So you can see I've set this one up kind of poorly. So we're gonna set this up. We're gonna do last month, apply, close. Okay, so you can see his 5-second power. He set that on June 9th. It's June 25th right now. So he hasn't set another peak power marker since then. So you scroll down here, yeah, you're probably going to see his 60-minute power 248 that was set just recently. So he's starting to hit some of his PRs, and you can see that is improving over time. You're starting to see some more improvements in here versus here, which is a good sign that your athlete is progressing. And it's just another tool to check where your athlete is and where they can go. Once again, peak fitness history right here. Power, watts on the bike because he has watts. If he didn't have watts, we'd be looking at speed right there. So let's see in January, his peak 20-minute power was a 208. This month, he's slated to do a 271. So there has been lots of improvement there, which is a very good sign. If we go to 60 minutes in January, he did a 165. Now he's doing 250, which is a monster improvement. Very big gains for him. You can see his peak power for all workout types, his 30-second power, his 5 minutes, his 30 minutes, and his 3 hours. If you keep scrolling in between these main spots, you can see that it has other metrics to go by as well. I don't think, yes, you can compare this again so you can see where he was before you started and where he is now, which is also a good sign. It will overlay it, which is really cool to see. Time and heart rate zones. This one is set up by all workout types, so you can just double check where he is in most of his workouts, which if he starts to get into a lot of zone 3, that is potentially bad. If this athlete is going for a really long distance, that would not benefit them as well. Longest workout duration, all workout types. If we wanted to change this to just the bike, we would hop in here and just apply and close, and you can see that is slowly changing as well. If we wanted to do it for the run, we would just unclick the bike, go to the run, and you can see where he has started. He has not done his long run this week, so that's why this graph is not up here as well. Let's just change that back to all for me. And you can see his time and speed right here. Let's change this to bike. They open up a little bit. Yeah, you can see this week was his race week, so that's why he was up all over there. If we go to the run, it just creates a bigger picture for you, and you can see where your athlete is. And if they have a really good race or a really good couple of workouts, you can go back in here and you can see where this athlete was in their zones, which is really great to see. So if you see that they have done really poorly the last week or two, you can dive in a month ago and you can look in there and say, okay, it looks like my athlete was going way too hard for a couple weeks before, and they just need some recovery time in between now and then. And that gives you another tool to kind of go in and help them. Time and heart rate zones, it kind of breaks it down a little bit here for you depending on the zones you set up. I do the USAT model, so we have zone 1, zone 2, 3 over here. The metrics, this is actually, that's probably Joe Friel's, it's not the USAT model. If you look at the metrics, I encourage a lot of the athletes to enter this sleep hour, overall feeling, and it gives you another metric to go on. It tells you